Your surname is Barker.
Correct.
And you do have a certain resemblance to a certain Ronnie Barker.
The glasses.
That's it. It's the glasses. I knew there was something about you. Can you tell us who Ronnie Barker is to yourself?
Was old man, his dad.
That's class. What a legend. Well, now people know that, they'll probably, it's very hard to unsee that you are the image of your dad. Your dad is a national treasure. He's an absolute comedy genius. I'm without question TV royalty. A master of timing. As a writer, he was a generational super talent, a producer, a hawkeye of an editor, perfectionist, an innovator, a wordsmith, simply one of the best ever. I hope he would like those words.
I'm pretty sure he would, yes.
Hope he'd appreciate that. And that's come from, that's me. That's not research. That is completely me. That's my opinion. I think he's just another level, and I think he'll go down I think he'll be spoken about in 100 years' time. He is the receiver of 4 BAFTA awards, and he's got 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, which I've never heard of that before. 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. That's how good he was.
Really?
Now, following the success of the 2 Ronnies, the BBC let your dad decide what he wanted to do. Ronnie Barker opted to produce some sitcom pilots. 2 of these pilots, Open All Hours and Prisoner and Escort, became series. Prisoner and Escort became Porridge, with Ronnie Barker starring as the cynical and cunning prisoner, Norman Stanley Fletcher. What was it like growing up with your dad being one of the most famous and recognisable people in the UK?
The thing is, I mean, I have nothing to compare it to. So when people ask that question, I always say, I don't know. That seemed normal to me. You know, I would wonder what it would be like to not have a famous dad, because
that's all you've known.
All you've known, you know. I remember it being intrusive for him at times. We used to have a house down on the coast, south coast of Littlehampton, which we had to sell up in the end because he couldn't go out. You know, he couldn't go out the door. You know?
Because he was too recognised.
Well, you get mobbed. You know, it's a very private individual around you, and it's like, well,
yeah.
That's no fun.
It's interesting to ask the question because it's not the norm for 99%,
no.
99.9%, but for you, it was. So it's an interesting answer. So with your dad being so well known and prominent in the public eye, how was he able to separate his TV life from his life at home with the family?
He was very funny at home. I mean, he'd write at home, you know, but you know, he would be quite.
Oh, he would write at home.
Yeah. But he'd have a tree he'd go and sit under, and we all know that he would be writing from 10 till lunchtime. He didn't really start writing till the 2 Ronnies, so that was about 72, wasn't it? I think. And he wasn't interested in any sort of celebrity life at all. So he didn't.
Was it a byproduct?
Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't go to do's, you know. He wouldn't go to functions and turn up.
Oh, really?
Well, he would if he had to, and he would if. I mean, he often did it. He did it more for my mum than himself, because my mum would like to meet people, you know, and be nice.
Yeah.
To go and say, oh, there's Michael Caine or whatever, you know, you know what I mean. Whereas I think, if he had a choice, would just be home with the family.
Have you got any funny or interesting anecdotes about any of your dad's famous friends who came to the house to visit?
I remember Jimmy Perry, who was Dad's Army, getting into the playpen with my eldest son, you know, when he was about 1.5, and sitting and playing with him. And you think that's odd, but actually it's not. He was just a 65-year-old man who was mucking and playing around with the kids, you know, like your uncle would or something, you know. But so it was almost the ordinary to these people that so once you're over the fact that it's Bob Monkhouse, then they'd be talking about mortgages and stuff, and you know, it wasn't a big showbiz thing. I mean, a few people were. I mean, I think we ran into Danny LaRue a few times, and he was early drag artist, and he was very, so there's a few like that, you know. But mainly, there were Jason and Richard Bryars, Barry Cry, just really ordinary people, you know.
Is there any favourite sketches or shows?
Well, the show
for you?
Show would be Porridge.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was his best work. There's a few good sketches.
There's a few. There's a few dozen. Can I share a couple of mine with you?
Yeah, please do.
I love Round of Drinks.
Yeah, it's good.
I think what I love Round of Drinks and the Mastermind.
Yeah,
What I found with a lot of the two Ronnie sketches, which is genius, and I'm sure it was purposely done. You don't actually know where it's going.
no,
And that's so clever because when he's doing the round of drinks and he put down he's a, oh, right, the girl with the bear behind would like a pink boob. I'll have a gin and tonic. Are these both mine? But there's only one there. And then I was thinking like, and he keeps getting the order wrong, and it keeps progressively getting further away from what the actual drink is.
yeah.
And then you're like, where's this going? And then eventually he goes, right, forget all previous orders. Just give me
a sack of Coke, 2 large rocks, 2 pink boobs, an enormous lemon, and a large bear lady of the house.
Yeah.
And then he walks out to give the drinks to the guests, and he just goes,
Who ordered the pink boob?
and that just makes me fall on the floor. Who ordered the pink boob? I'm going to watch that again later. Who was your dad's best friend? Was it a Ronnie Corbett? Was it a David Jason? Or was it a man that no one knows about that's just not in the public eye?
It would be Jason he was very close to Jason. He was very close to Richard Beckinsale until he died. He was a good friend.
Was he quite close? Was he quite close to Ronnie Corbett away from the screen, or was that more of the work?
I mean, they would obviously meet up every now and then, but they didn't hang out because they was very close together for so much of the year anyway.
What were the two Ronnies like in a private setting? Were they just two normal blokes?
Well, two normal, very funny blokes. You get more than two together, and it's chaos.
A good time.
Yeah. I mean, Eric Morecambe was the most dangerous one.
Morecambe.
Yeah. he was just a dangerous man. Him and the old man got together. It was a bit tricky.
What work of your dad's was he most proud of? I have read that the making of Open All Hours was the happiest experience of his life.
I think probably if you take a sort of series as a whole, I think he probably did think that. I think he liked that best of all, and I think that was mainly because he was working with David.
I was going to say, working with his good friend.
Yeah. With Open All Hours, yeah, he got quite involved in the production of it. He was again working with the same guy, Sid Lotterby. He worked with them prior, so they were very close.
Yeah.
He was very much involved in how he would look through the camera.
What was his writing process, and do you take any inspiration from it yourself?
He would get my mum to type it up.
Oh, really? Okay, on a typewriter.
Yeah, and if she didn't laugh, he wouldn't send it in.
Wow.
That was the test.
So she had a very, very, very good sense of humour then.
Well, she was very funny. I mean, she was.
So was she was part of the team then, really, Joy?
She was really, yeah. She was, yeah. He'd wanted to laugh,
Wow.
She got the first sight of it, but literally as she was typing it up,
How do you feel when you see your dad's work on the TV now? Does it make you happy? Does it make you sad? What emotion does it invoke? But because the reason I ask that is, in one sense, you're seeing a man, your father, who I'm guessing is greatly missed, on the TV, and it brings back those memories. But at the same time, you've got a time capsule of your dad. You've got moving pictures, and you've got periods of time, and you can laugh at your dad's work and feel pride.
Yeah.
So I asked that. What emotion does it generally invoke from yourself?
I think it is more pride, because I think there's a separation between him at home and him on TV, and there was even when he was around. I'd probably get more emotion from a bit of home movie footage of him.
Oh, right, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, well, that was. There always was his TV persona was different to his home persona. Not his behaviour, it just was a different person because he's an actor. So we'd sit together and watch him, and you have an objectivity. So when I see it, I see pride in the good stuff. Pleased that it's still around. I think it's nice for my kids to be able to see the granddad. When people find out, it's always quite fun for them, I think. And sometimes.
Well, I remember when I found out.
Yeah.
I remember when we first got in touch, and my writing partner at the time, I think we found each other on the British Comedy Guide. We were looking for a third writer / editor.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to help with a few bits that we were a little bit stuck with, because we're always trying to learn. and it come up Larry Barker. I think it actually said Lawrence Barker.
Probably did.
And I made a joke to my friend, my writing partner, and I said, Barker. I went, imagine that was Ronnie Barker's son. Honest to God, I said that. And he laughed into it. Yeah, right. Sure. And we were like, right, let's get on Google. Larry Barker. And then some of the bits that I've already read out to you about Larry Barker started in advertisement and the Clio Awards and the Cannes Awards. And then at the bottom it just said the son of Ronnie Barker. And I was like, yo, he is the son of Ronnie Barker. And you're looking more and more like him every day.
I know. Well, as soon as the hair's gone white, it's a done deal now.
These as well.
Yeah, well, these are my special seeing things glasses. I've got another pair that aren't as Ronnie Barkerish. But
Seeing things glasses. I like that.